I hesitate to introduce Mary Martin, so I won't try. And I guess each person looking at you now has their own remembrance of you. It sounds like you're dead, and you're certainly not.
But I'm not.
You're certainly not.
Let me see. No, I'm not.
How do you think of yourself? If someone said, what do you do for a living? Say you went to the Mars and someone said, Mary Martin, what do you do? What would you say?
I would say I'm a Martin. I'm a Martian, wouldn't I? I went to Mars.
Right.
I don't know what I'd say. I would say that I do many things. First I would say I started at 5, singing, then performing, and then I would just say that my real career was the theater. Now I'm having a new one, which is designing, and that's fun too.
We were just saying it's been 40 years since you started, 1938, introduced the song My Heart Belongs to Daddy.
So many people don't remember the name of the show, so I'm going to tell it. I bet you don't remember.
Well, I did, and I read it just now. You tell us.
Leave it to me.
Cole Porter's.
And it was such a marvelous thing to be in my first show, because it was Billy Gaxton and Victor Moore, Sophie Tucker, Tamara, the singer who sang Smoke Gets in Your Eyes.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful cast, and a fluke of that I got in it.
What do you find most people whom you see today identify you with?
Peter Pan.
Really? Does that bother you?
No, I love it. I am.
Yeah.
I still am Peter Pan. I can still teach you how to crow. I may do this before we finish.
Okay, good.
But no, I really do. For instance, recently I just returned from Brazil, and it was pouring down rain, and I'd rented a car from Hertz, but it wasn't there. So they said, we'll send a bus over. A young girl came driving a huge bus to get all this luggage and get me to the car. And she stopped once, and a young man, about in his 20s, got on, sat down, and looked across at me, and he said, "You're not." And I said, "No, I'm not." I didn't want to think I was Peter Pan then. I was dead. And I said, I'm not. He said, "Yes, you are. Yes, you are Peter Pan." And I said, "Well, I have to get out of this car, out of this bus, and get on in a car. Can you help Peter Pan with all this luggage?" And he did. He said, "I would do anything." And he was a young father by this time. And he said, "When is Peter Pan ever going to be on again? I want my children to see it."
Well, some people in show business are upset that they're remembered by one singular role. I think it's refreshing that you're not.
Oh, I love them all. Yeah. I loved not every single one.
Yeah.
There were a couple that I didn't love. But I loved South Pacific and Sound of Music, and I Do, and Peter Pan, now, Annie, Dolly.
You can see the list is quite impressive. Growing up in Texas, you said you started dancing when you were 5.
Singing and dancing.
Singing and dancing.
Yeah.
Were you from a show business family?
No, my father was a judge and a lawyer. My mother was a violinist.
Yeah.
And stopped being, she was a concert violinist, and when she married my father, stopped. But there was no one in show business in the family. But I just, when I was born in Weatherford, I was born in my mother's bedroom, and to announce this great event, a curtain went up. They raised the curtain so the neighbors across the street would know of my great entrance into the world. Yeah. So they've been going up ever since, and down, up and down.
Yeah. Do you lament Broadway as it is today? Do you think it's better than it was? Or?
I don't lament Broadway ever, because I happen to love theater more than I made 12 pictures, which bored me to death. And I think it's a new form of musical comedy. I think Hair changed it back at that period. When Hair came on, that changed a whole new look in musical. But I haven't seen the new shows recently, not even last year. And I think it's coming around another way, like Annie. I haven't seen Annie.
Now, I want you to look at this face as I tell you she's going to be 65.
December 1st.
Come the end of this year. You're not retired.
No way. I'm just beginning.
Why, I ask you, why didn't you retire?
Well, because I don't think anyone should. When 65 comes up, okay, you have to, if you are with a company.
Well, no, they raised it to 70 now, so they.
Oh, really?
They can't make you retire.
Legitimately?
Oh, yeah, the federal law passed.
Oh, I didn't know it passed.
Oh, yeah.
When?
Oh, well, about 6 months ago.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, I'm a little behind. I was in Brazil for
Claude
2.5
Pepper,
months.
one of our local congressmen.
Wonderful.
Very instrumental.
Well, it doesn't matter. Even at 70, everyone's living longer,
Right.
And so I think everyone who should, no one should. You must do something, because you will really get old and crockety. And I right now, to this day, can do exactly what I did when I was a dancing teacher at 19. I can do the same. I can walk straight up and down on the floor with my hands straight, my knees straight.
Really?
I don't work at this. I just never am not active.
Now,
But the thing is, if one does retire, they become dull. They're never dull to everybody.
but now I think a lot of people think of retiring. They think of quitting what they've done for 40 years. Now, you're not still doing plays on Broadway.
No, but I will. I want to.
Okay. But talk about
Well, that's what I
changing,
mean.
but, yeah.
Well, I'm doing a presentation here. I don't know what night it's on, but I do slides, and one of the theme of it is homes in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But we lived this exciting life of contrast. You see, we did shows in Broadway, and then we lived in Brazil in the jungle for 25 or 26 years. So to me, everybody should have another kind of life. Even, for instance, all these darling people who work here should have something else that they do, so that this will not make them too tired, the idea.
Right.
Noel Coward said to me once, I adore Noel Coward, I said, how can you do motion pictures, work in a nightclub, write a show, and a book all at the same time? I mean, Noel, this is too much. And he said, counter-irritant, darling, counter-irritant.
Counter-irritant.
Counter-irritant, because that kept him, alive. So whatever you're doing, do a counter-irritant. One thing I am sorry about Broadway, like someone like me coming along, there was Ethel Merman, who was a star and still is a star. There was Gertie Lawrence, who was a star. But these people dedicated their lives to the theater. Then I came along and I dedicated my life to the theater. I just happened not to like pictures, but no one will stay with it. There are too many things. Television comes up, then they go to television, then they'll go to pictures. But the thrill of being, to me, is let's say, try to be the best in the field you're in, whatever it is, and then you have to stick to it.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to
Thank
be
you.
with you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.